Hello and welcome back to Shine the Fine Arts. Today we are watching a time lapse. This is more of a time lapse and less of a tutorial. What I'm doing today is a portrait in oil pastels, and although I will be sharing a lot of tips and techniques and sharing my thoughts on pastels and my ideas about using pastels for portraits, but this is not technically how to do a portrait in pastel kind of tutorial. While you are watching the time lapse, I'll share some of my views, techniques and tips. That's all about it. So without much ado, let me get started. So what you're watching is that I started off with a drawing, and in the very initial layer, what I'm doing is I'm kind of blocking in different shades of colors in different areas. You will see that I am going with a very light hand, and most of the white and grain of the paper can still be seen. This is not a very expensive, very best kind of paper. This is just Strathmore drawing paper, 80 pounds weight, and I'm using Pentel oil pastels, which is again not artist grade, definitely. In fact, it is a very cheap set of oil pastels, but I was just giving this method a whirl and trying to see whether pastels work the way I wanted to, so that before I go ahead and invest in a more expensive variety, I can make sure that this works for me. Because I like realism and I like a very smooth finish, it is important for me to work in multiple layers, and I just want to make sure before I went in and bought a nice set that it works for me. So as you can see that here I am blending using odorless mineral spirits. Just a couple of days ago, I have shared a video on how to use odorless mineral spirits, or how to blend oil pastels with odorless mineral spirits, and I'll put a link to that video in the video descriptions. Please go ahead and check that out because it has got very good, useful information, like how much to use and how to blend and what are the different ways of blending oil pastels with or without odorless mineral spirits. But if you ask my opinion, I personally like this method using the mineral spirits much better. I get a much more finished and smoother look. Since this is my first try on oil pastel portraits, it is not essentially, the end result is not as perfect as I would want it to be, but perfection doesn't come in one day. It is not a magic thing. It will come with practice. So I'm hoping that now that I know all the methods, tips and tricks and techniques, the next time I'll try oil pastels for a portrait or for a figure or whatever, it would be much more better result. However, as you will see at the end, what I've achieved at the end, I'm not very disappointed with it. It is still okay. Not the best artwork, but not bad at all. So you can see that I started with a very light hand and I'm slowly building layers. So you will see that although this is skin, I am leaving some areas, the white of the paper is still showing, which I would use as the highlight areas. I have used different skin tones, reds, browns, purples, and even blues in this face. And since this face had a lot of makeups, I had to use some extra colors for lips and eyes. But if it were a male figure, the lips would probably be a little bit different. And doing this layer by layer, little by little, building up the dark depth, or building up the shadows and lights and darks, this I really enjoyed with oil pastels. But one thing I would like to recommend, that whenever you're using odorless mineral spirit, before you go ahead and put the next layer of pastel, let that mineral spirit dry completely. Otherwise you will get more pastel on your paper, or you can also damage your paper by getting it too hard against the surface of paper. In the very last layers, you would see that I'm pressing the pastel pretty hard to get some thick pastel deposit on the paper. And I'm switching on between the pastel sticks and Odorless spirits and continuously building the shadows. It will definitely not happen in one time. You'll have to keep doing layers. And again, as for skin tone, I'd like to mention that nothing is one solid color. It depends on the lighting, it depends on the face, it depends on the makeup in this case, that what colors you would find at different areas. Hair is not a solid black, face is not a solid skin color. So what you see is what you paint. So adjust your colors accordingly. Use as much as colors as possible. Now I have reached the hair area and the jewelry, or rather the ornaments area. I am blocking in with a darker shade first, and then coming back with the lighter shades and ultimately white. Creating some of the finer details here, adding some portions of the neck and shadows on the neck. I'm also using the leftover paint on my brush to create small wisps of air. That gives it a more natural look. Here I'm blending the first layer of paint on the earring and the hair. And once that is completely dry, I'm coming back with grays and whites and blues and greens for the earring, and to increase the depth of shadows and give it more texture. Now I am finally doing the background. You will see that I'm doing the background in a very, very loose hand. I'm not being at all picky as I've been through the entire portrait. I just wanted this grainy look for the background. I did not want it to have a finished look, but I'm still blending a little bit so that I can add a little more of layering on top of it. But it is definitely not the smooth background kind of look. I just wanted this grainy look against the smooth portrait for the background. So here you're at the end, at the final portrait. And as usual, I'll put all the links. Please let me know how you like it. Thank you for watching.